Good morning, students. Today we are continuing with the next part of the chapter number 7, Lifelines of National Economy, that is railways. We are going to cover this part now. Now, children, how are railways important for us? How, for example, if you see the rich people, they travel by airlines. But if you see a large number of population of our country, or you can say the maximum number of people of our country, they travel by railways. It is because railways is very cheap. If you compare with the other transportations, railways is a cheaper means of transport if we are traveling to a long distance. For a shorter distance, definitely we travel by roadways. But if it is a long distance, we travel by railways. For example, if a person has to go from Punjab to Chennai, which is a long distance, then the person will prefer to go by railways. Other than if the person is a rich person, that's a different thing, they can take flight. But a common man will go by railways. Railways is the principal mode of transportation for goods and the passengers in India. A large number of people, as I said, travel by the railways, and also large number of goods are transported by railways from one part of the state to the another part of the state. Railways make it possible for people to conduct multifarious activities. People travel through railways for various purposes. Some people travel for the business purposes. Some people go to the sightseeing to different areas through the railways. Some people go to the pilgrimages, that is the worship regions, through the railways. Some students also go by the trains for their studies in the different states. And apart from an important means of transport, Indian railways have been a great integrating force for more than 150 years. Railways in India were introduced by the Britishers. From that time till now, people travel by these railways, and different types of people travel. And when you meet the different types of people in the railways, you definitely share your culture with them. So that is leading to the integration of the country, integration of the people, integration of the country. Railways in India bind the economic life of the country, as well as it accelerates the development of the industry and agriculture. Railways is connecting the different parts of our country. For example, if there are more number of agricultural crops grown in Punjab, those surplus amount of grains are transported through the railways to the different parts of our country. So that is promoting economic promotion, as well as it is linking so many agricultural regions and so many industrial regions. For example, any kind of goods are produced in the states of Orissa or Chhattisgarh, and if they have to be transported to Mumbai, the railways is used. Indian Railways comes under the public sector undertaking. It is the largest public sector undertaking. Public sector means it is under the government sector, under the control of the government. Now, why that Indian Railways is under the government sector, not under the private sector? It is because it is under the government sector because the fares, if you see the fare or the price or the cost of the railways for each person, if you are traveling to a long distance, it is very low. If it gets into the hands of the private sector, then your cost of traveling will increase, which a common man or a poor person will not be able to pay. For example, your maid, the maid servant at your home, maybe she has to travel to Bihar. she will definitely take a train. But if it comes under a private sector, the fare of or the cost of that train for her travel will increase, because the private sector will charge a higher price because they work only for profit, but not the government sector. It is the duty of the government sector to provide services to the people at lower cost. That is why railways come under the public sector. So that's about the importance of railways. If a person has to travel to a longer distances within a country, we can travel by the railways. In the same way, goods have to be transported from one state to another state. Railways are preferred, especially if the goods are heavy goods. People travel for various purposes through the railways: business, sightseeing, pilgrimage, for studies, etc. Railways integrate the people of the country, of the different areas. Railways also bind all of us together because it links the rural areas with the cities. It links the agricultural areas, surplus agricultural areas, with the deficit agricultural areas. And Indian Railways come under the public sector because it gives services to the people. We come to the continuation part of the railways. Children, here you can see there are two pictures here. What is shown here? You can see the railway tracks are shown over there in both the pictures. Now, what do we have to know from here is this width of the track, between the tracks. You can see here, these are the two railway lines over there. Track is there. In the track, you can see this width between these two tracks, the distance between these two tracks. You know what is this called as, children? This is called as gauge. Gauge. The distance between the two tracks is called as gauge. Now, why are we studying gauge? Because this will tell that capacity of the bogies, that is the boxes which you see. If you have traveled through the train, you might have seen the bogies, the capacity. Not only that, this gauge also tells us that in which region, in different regions, different track gauges are built. For example, if it is a mountainous area, hilly area, you will see that there is very less or very slopy areas, and very less region is there where you can build a track. So there you will see a narrow track, very narrow track. That means the distance between these tracks will be less than 1 meter. I will show you that also in the next slide. In the same manner, if the distance between the track is 1 meter, it is called as meter gauge. If the distance between the track is more than 1 meter, children, it is called as broad gauge. You can see here all the three are being shown. So let's see first of all narrow gauge. If you can see this narrow gauge, behind this narrow gauge, you can see the mountains are shown over there in this picture, children, here. So that means in the mountainous areas, you will see that the plain land, very less area you will get here. So the track will be narrow. You can see the distance is very much less than 1 meter. In the same manner, meter gauge, if you go to the regions of plateau regions, especially where there are tunnels, where there are smaller hills like Sahyadri Hills, etc., you will see that there will be meter gauge. The distance between the track is 1 meter, because still it is a hilly area. Because you will have Western Ghats, etc., which is a hilly area only. If you go to the plain areas like Delhi or northern plains, if you go, you will see broad gauge, where the distance between the two tracks is more than 1 meter. That is broad gauge. Today, all over India, you will see this broad gauge. All over India, except mountainous regions, hilly areas, mountainous areas, where you will see, even now you will see a narrow gauge. For example, if you have gone to the places like Shimla or Darjeeling, you might have seen toy trains. Toy trains. So that is built on the narrow gauge because it is a narrow gauge. But if you go to any place other than the mountainous regions, you will see the train boxes are very big. They will be this much big because the distance between the two tracks is more than 1 meter. So the capacity will also increase. But in the mountainous areas, the capacity of the bogies will be low. Less capacity will be there. You can see the difference between this box. The less number of passengers can travel here in this, and here more number of passengers can travel. And obviously it will not be even in the plain areas. It is easy to make a broad gauge because you will get lot of space, but in the hilly areas you won't get, so you will make only the narrow gauges. So that's about your gauge, children. Then we have the next part of the railways, distribution pattern of railway network in the country. That means you have a question in your NCERT book also, that distribution pattern of railway network is based on physiographic divisions, administrative network, and the industrialization or economic factors. That means how many railway lines or tracks or railway lines are made, that depends upon three things. First one I said, physiographic division, type of land. That is, if it is a plain area, you will see more railway lines. If it is a desert area or a hilly area, you will see less number of railway lines. In the same manner, if I talk about administrative factor, the importance of that particular place administratively, that is official work. For example, Delhi, which is the capital of India, you will see the maximum government offices are over here in Delhi. So a lot of people have to travel to Delhi and Delhi to the other states. So you will see the maximum number of railway lines which are passing through Delhi, because administratively it is very important. In the same way, Mumbai is very important administratively because it is the important city in the western region. Same way, Kolkata in the eastern part, Chennai in the southern part. These areas you will see more administrative work, so more railway lines. Coming to the economic factor. For example, northern plains, you will see more number of railway lines, not only because it is a plain area, but also because economically it is very important area. There are large number of industries in the northern plains, and the northern plains are also suitable for growing up of agricultural crops. So these agricultural crops, the surplus amount has to reach to the different states. Same way, the industrial goods have to reach to different states. So you will see more number of railway lines in these areas based upon the economic viability of that area. So for example, if you lay down more number of railway lines in the Himalayas, do you think you will get profit? Because in the Himalayas, you will not get much of the agricultural crops also, nor there will be any amount of industries in the Himalayas, nor the number of population is more. So, if you lay railway lines also, you will not get any profit. In the same way, if you lay railway lines in the deserts, you will not get any profit. So railway lines are laid in those areas where more number of people are living or high population is there, where the plain area is there, where it is easy to build, and also which is economically and administratively important areas. That's how I have explained this. But whenever this question comes, children, you have to give examples. So let's do from this PPT which I am showing here all the examples with the explanation of the same question which I have done just now. Now, first point, the northern plains with the vast level land have high population density and rich agricultural resources provided the most favorable conditions for their growth. Which I have just now told you that in northern plains, because there is high population, there is large amount of agricultural crops are grown over here. It is favorable for laying down of railway lines. That means you will get profit if you lay railway lines over here. Next point. However, a large number of rivers requiring construction of bridges across their wide beds posed some obstacles. This is not required because you are giving the favorable region. So you don't have to give this point there. So let's remove this point from that answer which we were doing. So we will write the first point for the answer which the question I have given you. What is the question? Distribution pattern of railway network depends upon physiographic factor, administrative factor and economic factor. Explained by giving examples. So this first example. Then we have the next one, this one. In the hilly terrains of the peninsular region, if you go to the peninsular plateau, you have most of the hills, Sayadri hills. We have then Damodar hills. Then we have Western Ghats, Eastern Ghats. So many hills we have there. So in all these hilly tracks, laying down of railway lines is difficult, but some of the railway lines have been made through tunnels or gaps. You might have heard, if you go to Madhya Pradesh, if you travel through train through this area, Madhya Pradesh, you will see lot of tunnels, which are also called as gufa in Hindi. So the train will pass through those tunnels. So the cost of laying down railway lines is really little costly over here because you have to cut down that hill and then lay the railway line. Next one is your Himalayan mountainous regions. Two are unfavorable. So the second, this point is also unfavorable. This is also here unfavorable for the construction of railway lines due to high relief, sparse population, lack of economic opportunities. That's I've already done. That in Himalayas, if you lay down railway lines, it will be of loss only because there is less population which will travel through the trains. There will be no, there are no industries, no much agricultural crops overgrown there. Next one. It was difficult to lay even the railway lines on the sandy plains of western Rajasthan. It's difficult to lay railway lines in this part of the western Rajasthan where there are sandy plains. In the same manner, swamps of Gujarat, it is difficult to lay the railway lines. Swamps means in we have done Terai region has swamps. Daldal जिसको आप कहते हो in Hindi, daldal swamps. It's very difficult because if you keep even your foot in that, you will completely go down. It's very difficult to come back from the swamps. So that is muddy, very we call it as wet mud. So that area very difficult to lay down the railway lines. Then we have forested tracts of Madhya Pradesh. In few regions like Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Odisha, Jharkhand, the forests are so thick that hardly the sunlight reaches the earth. That much thick forests are there. Again, the people cannot lay down the railway lines over here. Then, the contiguous stretch of Sahyadri Hills in the south. That also is very difficult to lay the railway lines. So, it can be only crossed through the natural passes, or the railway lines can be only laid down in those passes. In the presently, which is the recent development, few years back only, even in the coastal areas, it was very difficult to lay the railway lines. But yes, our Indian government was successful in laying down of one of the railway line, that is Konkan Railway, which is called as Konkan Railway. Where it is Konkan coast, children? Mumbai, Goa, the coastal region of Maharashtra. We call that as the Konkan coast. There, a railway line is laid down. Okay, in the west coast. So, it is easy for the passengers and the goods in this most important economic region of India. You know, lot of fishing is done in this area. Lot of fishing is done in this area, Konkan coastal areas. From that region to other parts of the region, there was no railway transport earlier. But now the government has given this facility, which is called as Konkan Railway. So that's how the distribution pattern of railway depends upon these three factors: a physiographic factors, administrative factors, and economic factors. There are so many examples. The question comes for 5 marks, children. So you can give the 5 examples and then explain the answer. We come to the next part, problems of Indian Railways. This is very easy to learn also, and we all know this. When we travel by train, we see so many passengers traveling without the tickets. There are lots of damages and thefts in the railway property. People steal the railway property. People pull the chains and stop the trains unnecessarily, which causes a lot of damage to the railways. There can be rail accidents also because of that pulling of the chains. Sometimes even a lot of people, when they involve in the strikes, different types of strikes, they sometimes damage the railways also. So that is how the Indian railways are facing lot of problems. We come to the next transportation network, which is pipeline transportation. Now you may think that the people don't travel by pipelines. So why we are studying pipelines? Children, a lot of goods are transported through the pipelines. In the olden days, when actually the pipelines were introduced, only water was transported through it. But later on, oil and gas were transported through the pipeline. You can see even the gas, you get the gas into your houses also through the pipeline. So in the same way, from the region from where the oil is extracted and natural gas is extracted, from that region to a lot of industries like fertilizer industry or thermal power stations, pipelines are laid down through which this oil and natural gas are transported. Other than this, children, there is one more interesting thing, that is even the solid goods like iron ore, etc., transported through the pipelines. Now you may wonder how solids can be transported. Iron can be transported through a pipeline. Yes, children, it can be transported, but not in the solid form. It is transported when it is converted into a semi-liquid form. That semi-liquid form of that solid is known as slurry. Slurry, Slurry. Children, it is a very, very important 1 mark question. Slurry. What is slurry? Slurry is a semi-liquid form of a solid. Now that when it is converted into slurry, it can be transported through the pipelines. So I am now coming to the part that is advantages and importance of pipeline transportation. Pipelines are used mainly for transporting the crude oil, petroleum products, and the natural gas from oil and natural gas fields, that is, from where it is extracted, to the places where refineries, fertilizer factories, and thermal power plants are located. And pipelines are also used to transport solids when it is converted into semi-liquid form, which is called as slurry. The far inland locations of the refineries. Refineries are located in many parts of our country. Only few examples are given here, but they are located in many parts of the country. In the same way, fertilizer plants are located in many parts of the country. So, wherever it is, that pipelines will carry gas and the oil. Now, where are these actually the fields, oil fields? For example, children, Arabian Sea. In the Arabian Sea, there are two regions which are called as Mumbai High and Basin. Mumbai High and Basin, Bassein Basin. They are located in the Arabian Sea. So, in the sea I am talking about, because oil and gas is extracted from the seabed. So, from there, the pipelines is laid to the regions like Mathura. Mathura is in UP. So the pipeline is laid from there to Mathura, or from the Gujarat coast to Mathura. Gujarat coast to Mathura. So that pipeline will carry this oil and gas from that place where it is extracted to the place where it is refined. In the same way, lot of fertilizer plants are located in the UP. So a lot of pipelines are laid towards the UP, so that these oil and gas can reach to these refineries. The initial cost of laying pipelines is high. If you are first time laying your pipeline, say from Gujarat to UP, the pipeline is laid, the cost is very high. But once it is laid down, you don't have to lay the pipeline again and again, isn't it? Once you have laid, it is done. So later on, the cost is low. The running off, that is, later on running cost is minimal, very less cost. But initially, when you are actually building that pipeline, that will be very costly. It rules out transshipment losses or delays. Now, importance of this pipeline is there won't be any delay in reaching that oil and natural gas, because in pipelines there is no traffic signals or anything where you have to stop. So it is a continuous process and it will reach on time. Transshipment. If I have to transport the oil and natural gas through the roadways, first of all, I have to load it on the ships, the containers. The ships will reach to the coast. From that coast, I have to load it onto the trucks. Then I have to carry it through the roadways. And it will take a lot of time also. So if you are really transporting that oil and gas or slurry through the pipelines, you don't have to change from one type of mode of transport to the another type of mode of transport. That will also reduce the time also. So that is why it will reach on time. For example, in your houses, most of you might be having the gas pipelines. Children, you might have seen. In earlier days, we used to get the cylinder. It used to take time, 2 days, 3 days. The person has to reach. But now there is no delay. You are getting continuous supply of the gas. So that's how the pipelines are very, very important. Now, we have a very important pipelines, children, in our country. There are three most important pipelines in our country. The most important pipeline, which is mostly asked in the exam, is this third one. This pipeline is called as, children, HVJ pipeline. H for Hazira, V for Vijaypur, J for Jagdishpur. Now this pipeline is laid from Hazira, which is in Gujarat coast, to Jagdishpur, which is in Uttar Pradesh. If you have to travel from, if you just imagine map in your mind, if you have to travel from Gujarat, which is in the west coast, you to the UP, which is in the northeast part of our country, not extreme northeast, but we'll call it as northeast. So if we have to travel from Gujarat to UP, which state you have to cross? You have to cross state, that is Madhya Pradesh. So a place in Madhya Pradesh which is called as Vijaypur. So the pipeline is passing from Hazira in Gujarat, then it will move to Vijaypur, and then it will reach to Jagdishpur in UP. That is why it is called as HVJ pipeline. Now this pipeline is carrying oil and natural gas from where to where? It is carrying oil and natural gas from Mumbai High, which I told you in Arabian Sea, there is Mumbai High, which is a region from where these oil and natural gas are extracted. Children, it is very difficult to write with this, but I'm sure you can. I will show you in just now in the map. Mumbai High, it is called not Mumbai, it is called as Mumbai High, HIGH, Mumbai High and Basin. I will locate them. So from there to these areas, the pipeline is laid down and it is carrying the gas and oil. Now we come to the next one also. We have two more examples, children. From oil fields in Upper Assam to Kanpur in UP. You don't have to learn where. That means from where all stations it is passing. This all you don't have to learn, which I am underlining, you don't learn them. You just have to learn the one which I am underlining with the blue line, from oil field in Upper Assam to Kanpur. Second one, from Salaya in Gujarat to Jalandhar in Punjab. Jalandhar in Punjab. Third, then you have to learn up to here. I am putting a blue line. Up to here you have to learn. Gas pipeline from Hazira in Gujarat to Jagdishpur in UP via Vijaypur in Madhya Pradesh. These are the 3 pipelines, children, which you have to learn. Don't learn the other part which I have not underlined with the blue line. Only the part which I have underlined with the blue line, children, you learn. That's it. Then we continue. I'll just show you the even the pipeline on the map. HVJ pipeline on the map. You can see this is the HVJ pipeline, children, on the map. This is just for your idea. H in Gujarat, Hazira, V for Vijaypur in Madhya Pradesh, and J for Jagdishpur in Uttar Pradesh. That completes today's part, children. In the next topic, we will cover waterways and the airways. That's all, children. Have a good day, and please go through this part of the chapter and also learn the questions and write answers. Whichever questions I have given till now, write answers for them in your registers and learn them. That's all, children, for today. Have a good day.